George, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Crazy.
think it's our microphones are going to change.
What's the music?
I'd like to call this May 23rd, 2024 Board of Education meeting to order. Mr. Anagnostou, would you take the roll?
Mrs. Bissell,
Here.
Mrs. Kilbane,
Here.
Mr. Miko,
Here.
Ms. Stochek,
Here.
and Mrs. Hausum.
Here.
We are all present. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is our strategic priorities. Our district has developed and is currently engaged in a 3-year strategic plan which reflects the values, beliefs, and hopes of our student, staff, parents, and community. And tonight we have some exciting national student achievements to recognize tonight. Examples of the many ways the strategic priority of transforming teaching and learning is making an impact on our students. We do have 3 changes to the agenda to just highlight. We have some additions to our retirees, an additional executive session, and some adjustments to our human resources. And next is recognition, and we will start with OSBA student achievement.
This month, we acknowledged Chapman Elementary School, and Mrs. Harrell is going to come up and announce her nominations for the Extra Mile Award. I thought she was making a break for it for a second. She's getting a baby.
All right, good evening. I'm Kaylee Harrell, principal at Chapman, and I am so honored. We have 2 amazing recognitions this evening. We have 4th grade student Soraya, but I have looked and I do not believe that they are currently here, and I'm just trying to scan one more time. But
I don't know.
so I am going to share and recognize. Can you hear me?
Try.
All right. So I'm going to share and recognize Mrs. Jamie Sievers for Chapman's Extra Mile Award as our staff recipient. Jamie is a phenomenal educator and intervention specialist at Chapman Elementary. She is dedicated and puts 110% into everything she does. She has a calm and caring demeanor and naturally forms strong relationships with her students. She works towards increasing their independence and building not only their academic skills, but their confidence as well. Jamie is a team player and is somebody that sparks joy to be around during the school day. She is that colleague that you can go to for anything, and even when things are hard, Jamie always looks for solutions. Jamie is retiring at the end of this school year and is leaving behind an incredible legacy and pretty big shoes to fill. She's made such an impact on students, families, and coworkers, and she'll be greatly missed. I'm so happy for her and what the future holds as she now gets to spend more time with her family, her husband, her 2 girls, and her mom. So please join me in congratulating Jamie Sievers.
Shake yours.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
That's all right. Next is some recognitions for state and national PTA contest.
Yeah, so we'd like to bring Katie Drake up to the podium to recognize some outstanding students and how they've, the accomplishments they had this past year. And as Katie's coming up, we're here to honor the students, but I also want to give a special thanks to Katie. She met with me, I think, a year ago and kind of shared some ideas about how to reinvigorate the Reflections program, some mentorship ideas she had, and ways we could build connections through the middle school and high school. So as she comes up, can we give her a round of applause? She truly is dedicated to our district and our students, and we're going to highlight one of those tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to recognize the program PTA Reflections. Who here knows what Reflections is? Yikes. I feel like I'm going to give you my spiel, so I'm sorry in advance if you heard it before. Reflections is a program put on by the National PTA to get kids excited about the arts. And they release a theme every year, and kids can compete in 6 different categories. And I took over this program in 2020 and was so excited just to be able to give kids a space to be able to create. So we had some amazing artists, and we're going to recognize them tonight. So when you do place in Reflections, you can win at the state level, and if you win at the state level, you go on to the national level. So that's important because, spoiler alert, we have someone at the national level this year. So I'm really excited to first honor someone from last year who won first place at states. And for his film production, Monster, I wish we could show it, but I wasn't sure how to make that happen today. So Ashoka Kearns, can you come down here? We can recognize you for winning first place. For this year, we're honoring our first ever primary level honorable mention. She is in first grade at Kinsner, and that is Claire Palmer. This is the first time in the history of the district that we have had someone place in the primary level. And I'm super excited to present our last award tonight. Well, he has a lot of different awards, actually. He won state honorable mention last year for his visual arts. In 2024, he won a state award for excellence in visual arts. And in winning, it's like first place, he went on to nationals to win the award of excellence in visual arts. And so I'm so excited to give this to, I'm gonna do a drum roll, maybe not. Thank you, whoever did, I appreciate it. Ewan Kearns, come on down. This is the first time we've ever had someone place at the national level. It has been an honor to be able to chair this program. I wish Stephanie Cush could be here, she can't, but she's my co-chair.
Congratulations. That's great. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations, Claire. Congratulations, Katie.
It's always an exciting time at this meeting to recognize our outstanding students that placed in the DECA competition throughout the year. So I'm going to bring up the advisor and our teacher, Jenna Namick, to the stage to recognize them. Now, as she's coming up, I'll also share a little story. Earlier this week, we had a chance to go to the chamber luncheon where they announced all the scholarships, and it was phenomenal to recognize so many students, and thanks for the chamber for their support. But the students had to get up and share one of their most memorable moments from their high school career, and I think everyone that got a scholarship that was in DECA, which seemed like everybody, said DECA was their most memorable moment. So congratulations to you and the students, and we're thrilled to recognize them here tonight.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure and honor to be here. So for those of you who may not know what DECA is, we are an association for marketing students. DECA prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management in high schools and colleges around the globe. Nationwide, DECA has 177,000 members, 3,200 high school chapters, and 200 collegiate chapters. At Strongsville High School, all the students who are in the 2-year marketing program with me also participate in DECA. Aside from what is learned in the classroom, students also compete at DECA marketing competitions, which consists of a 100-question test and a marketing role play. Students are presented with some sort of marketing scenario that they have to develop a creative solution for, and then they present their idea in front of a judge. This year we had 80 SHS DECA members, all of whom competed at our DECA district competition in January. Of those 80, I'm proud to say we had 55 qualified to compete at the state level in Columbus in March, and at the state competition, 31 of those 55 students made the final round in their event, and 27 of those students placed in the top 10. The students being recognized tonight placed high enough in their event to earn them a spot to compete in the national competition in Anaheim, California. And I'm even more honored to say that we have 18 students qualify and compete at the national level. Being a top competitor is an exceptional accomplishment that not many students achieve in their high school career. Additionally, the students being recognized tonight actually competed last year as well, so they qualified to compete 2 years in a row. In Anaheim, the students got to network with a lot of other DECA members from around the country and compete at the national level. When asked about their experience, senior student Parm Oswald said, "When I first joined DECA, I was just a kid who liked to talk a lot, and not everything I said made sense," which I can attest is true. "But after 2 years of competing at the national level, I was able to structure and give meaning to my words. Nationals is a great opportunity to network with professionals and make friends that have similar aspirations as yourself from all over the country. You'll get to spend a week having fun while still competing at the highest level. I hope the younger students take advantage of opportunities like this because they're truly once in a lifetime." Each student here tonight embodies what it takes to be a model Mustang, and I'm so proud to be their teacher. To the seniors, I am so thankful that you got this experience and that your hard work and perseverance paid off. And to the juniors, I can't wait to see what you guys do next year. This is the first time ever I've had half of the students qualify. We're at the junior level, and then the other half are senior level. So we have a lot to look forward to next year as well with this group. And thank you guys all for the opportunity. I love being here and sharing our successes. So I'm just going to take a moment to recognize each student individually and bring them their certificates. So coming up when I call your name. First, I'm going to start with the juniors. These two competed as a partnership. This is Jackson Griffin and Matthew Wilkinson. They placed 7th at the state level in the event of buying and merchandising. It's also cool. Yes, round of applause. Each student who competes gets to pick an area of interest, so you'll hear a lot of different things here tonight. Next, we have junior Haley Smith. She placed 6th in her event of food marketing. Next, we have partners Josh Byers and Alex Polensky. They placed 6th at the state level in hospitality services. Next, we have junior partners Liam Hoftizer and Luka Stepanovic, 5th place in travel and tourism. Next, we have junior partners Peyton Koffold and Emily Majernik, 4th place for marketing management. Next, moving on to the seniors, I don't believe he's here tonight. We have Anthony Sprons, who placed 5th in apparel and accessories, and he will be going to Baldwin Wallace for finance, and he will also be running there as well. Next, we have senior Logan Ensign, 5th place in sports and entertainment marketing. He will be attending Capital University for marketing, and he will be playing lacrosse there as well. Also not here tonight, senior Ryan Gira, who placed 4th in automotive services marketing. He will be going to Miami of Ohio for business. Next, we have senior partners Will Grozan and Luke Pedersen, who placed 4th for sports and entertainment. Luke is not here, but Will is here, and he is attending the University of Cincinnati for business. Next, we have seniors Ryan Byers and Cal Cleansing. They placed 3rd at States, and they were in entrepreneurship. Ryan will be studying accounting at Baldwin Wallace, and Cal will be attending Ohio Wesleyan for business and playing basketball. And then the last two I'd like to recognize were my 2 who have qualified 2 years in a row. So we've spent a lot of good quality time together over the past few years. Seniors Parham Oswald and Michael Rose placed 1st at the state level for marketing management. Parham will be attending the Ohio State University for finance, and Michael will be attending Miami of Ohio for accounting. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations, Will. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, sorry.
Great job. Congratulations. 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 Angel, congratulations.
Ms. Sovcek, are we gonna?
We had some last minute arrivals, so we're gonna go back to.
It's worth the wait.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go back to our Extra Mile Award.
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Stavcek and Mrs. Cobain.
Good evening again. I'm so honored to be able to share with you and recognize a Chapman 4th grader, Soraya Lace. Soraya always gives her best effort in class, and she tries very hard on academic tasks, even when they're not presented in her native language. She is very polite, respectful, and cooperative with all of her teachers. Although it isn't expected, she takes on such a helpful role with her younger brother as they both began their first year here at Chapman. Soraya comes to school every day and shares a positive attitude and a desire to continue to learn. She demonstrates strong leadership qualities that often go acknowledged, including being resilient against adversity and striving to better oneself, even if it isn't always easy. We are so proud of her and the growth that she's had this year at Chapman during her 4th grade year. Please join me in congratulating Soraya.
And to continue on with celebrating some outstanding and awesome people, I'm going to turn it over to our Assistant Superintendent, Jenny Pelko, who is going to honor our retirees.
Thank you. So it is my honor to be able to recognize the retirement class of 2024. Tonight, we celebrate those who have worked to support the students of Strongsville City Schools for so many years, yet knowing the district knowledge they possess and dedication they have shown will be greatly missed. Among the 16 of them present tonight, they had collectively have over 400 years of experience educating, educating, advising, transporting, or feeding the students, and in some cases staff, of Strongsville City Schools. I can't even begin to total the number of people you have guided, influenced, and made a lasting impact on over these years. At this time, if all the retirees could come forward and sit just in this front row for me as you wait to be recognized. I'm also going to ask George to come up to help me first recognize one of our leadership team members. So I'd first like to bring up Dawn Evangelista. Dawn's career began with us at Allen Elementary School, where she served as an aide. She then took on a brief role as the HR secretary before finding her true calling in the treasurer's office, where she has been the executive secretary there since 2005. For nearly 19 years, Dawn has ensured that fees were collected, board meeting minutes were accurate, credit cards were returned on time, student activity fundraisers were conducted properly, and school personnel were well-trained in school finance. Beyond her official duties, Dawn dedicated much of her free time to the wrestling program, working at matches and leading the Pinnum Club while her children attended high school. Her excellent customer service skills were invaluable to the Treasurer's Department. Often she handled calls from upset parents regarding outstanding fee payments and managed to de-escalate situations calmly and efficiently, ensuring every transaction was completed smoothly. Dawn was truly the heartbeat of the Treasurer's Department. She kept us organized, on track, and compliant. Her meticulous attention to detail and dedication contributed significantly to our district being recognized with the Auditor's Award with distinction for the 5th consecutive year. Dawn played a pivotal role in ensuring all financial activities were accurate and compliant. As Dawn embarks on her well-deserved retirement, we want to express our deepest gratitude for her unwavering dedication, hard work, and the joy she brought to her role. Her presence is already missed, but you trained Melissa well to fill your high heels. Thank you, Dawn. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Mike Scott, Strongsville Education Association President, and Mr. Mike Hykar, our OPSE President of 028, who are going to assist me on stage as we individually celebrate our certified and non-certified retirees. All right, I'd like to bring up Kathy Kubar, please. So Kathy began her career as a playground aide at Whitney Elementary, where her passion for nurturing young minds first blossomed. Over the years, she graced the halls of Allen, Drake, and the high school. leaving an indelible mark on each institution she touched. As a clerk and later as an educational support aide at Muraski Elementary, she wasn't just a familiar face, she was the heartbeat of the school, the first smile students greeted in the morning, and the last warmth they felt as they left for home. What truly sets Kathy apart is her unwavering commitment to her students' well-being. She just didn't know their names. She knew their stories, their struggles, and their dreams. Kathy was more than just a support aide. She was a guiding light, always ready to lend a helping hand or listening ear whenever a student was in need. As you officially retired earlier this year, I hope you continue to enjoy your time, and thank you for all you have done for the students and staff at Strongsville City Schools.
Congratulations. We're so proud of you. Thank you.
Good luck. Enjoy.
Rose Dietrich. So from her early days behind the wheel as a bus driver in 1993 to her more recent role as the heart and soul of the custodial team at Kinsner Elementary, Rose has been spreading joy and positivity wherever she goes. Now let me tell you a little bit about Rose. She's just not any custodian. She's a ray of sunshine in human form. With her infectious smile and her warm personality, Rose has the remarkable ability to turn even the gloomiest of days into moments of brightness and laughter. If you were having a bad day, all it took was a short conversation with Rose to lift your spirits and restore your faith in humanity. Rose's journeys through various roles in our school district, from bus driver to cook to custodian, speaks volumes about her versatility and dedication. But it's not just her versatility that makes her special, it's her genuine love and care for everyone she encounters. Whether it's tidying up the hallways or sharing a kind word with a student or staff member, Rose does it all with grace, kindness, and love, and she's cherished by teachers, staff, and kids alike. So here's to you, Rose, as you embark on this new chapter of your life called retirement. Thank you for your years of dedication, your positivity, and your boundless kindness. The halls of Kinsner Elementary won't be the same without you, but your spirit will live on in the memories and hearts of all those who you've touched. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you.
We're proud of you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Enjoy. Every minute.
Mikey Fry. Her journey began with us in 2015 when she emerged from retirement, bringing her wealth of experience and passion for teaching that ignited a fire in the hearts of her students and colleagues alike. For the majority of her time here, Mikey has been the heart and soul of grade 1 at Chapman. Her commitment to her craft is nothing short of inspiring. Day in and day out, she has poured her heart and soul into shaping the young minds entrusted to her care, instilling in them not just knowledge, but a love for learning that will stay with them for a lifetime. But Mikey's impact extends far beyond the walls of her classroom. She is a mentor and a friend, and a beacon of positivity for all who have the privilege of knowing her. Her ability to form deep, meaningful relationships with her students is matched only by her dedication to supporting and guiding her fellow educators. Countless new teachers have benefited from her wisdom, her guidance, and her belief in their potential. What truly sets Mikey apart is her infectious spirit. She is the colleague that you can always count on for a laugh, a smile, or a shoulder to lean on. Thank you for all you have done for us, and hopefully this is your last retirement speech.
Congratulations. We're proud of you. Congratulations.
Kim Kaminsky. From her beginnings at Strongsville High School as a special education teacher for students facing behavioral challenges to her recent role as a beloved third grade teacher at Kinsner Elementary, Kim has exemplified unwavering dedication, compassion, and innovation throughout her career. Transitioning from high school to elementary teaching at Drake and Zellers and finally finding her home at Kinsner, Kim has demonstrated an incredible adaptability, and resilience. But it's just not that sets her apart. It's her pursuit of excellence, always speaking her mind when it may not be popular, and her commitment to learning and growth. Even in her last years of teaching, Kim continued to push boundaries and explore new ways to engage her students. She embraced innovation with open arms, constantly seeking out new strategies and techniques to enhance the learning experience of her students. Kim's classroom was just not a place of instruction, it was a dynamic environment where creativity, curiosity, and collaboration thrived. But perhaps what truly sets Kim apart is her remarkable ability to connect with her students on a personal level. She approached each day with empathy, patience, and understanding, ensuring that every child felt valued, supported, and empowered to succeed. Thank you for everything you've done, and may your days ahead be as bright and beautiful as the countless lives you've touched. Congratulations, Kim. Mrs. K, Peggy Kometz. Peggy began her long-standing career with us in 1995 as a speech and language pathologist. The fabulous Mrs. K, as so many of our preschool families know her, has brought so much joy to so many families and staff members over her time in the district. She always has a positive attitude, a smile on her face, and the most fabulous cinnamon coffee cake you have ever had. And her dancing is on point, as we witnessed the other day during preschool graduation. She has not only been a part of the family at Chapman, but a dedicated member of the Strongsville community. Mrs. K always puts kids and families first and has developed long-lasting relationships with everyone she comes into contact with. Congratulations on your well-deserved career and all the best to you in your retirement. You will be greatly missed, Peggy. I do want to recognize Dr. Lynn Lawson, who was scheduled to be here tonight but couldn't due to illness, so I just wanted to recognize her briefly. She started in gifted education in 1995 at Chapman Elementary and has served various roles throughout Strongsville City Schools, including 6th grade English and the most recent being one of our literacy coaches. So we hope that Lynn enjoys her retirement, and we thank her for all she did for Strongsville City Schools. And I would like to call up Dean Mates. From his humble beginnings at Zellers Elementary way back in the prehistoric era of 1990 to his recent exploits at Strongsville Middle School, Dean has been shaping young minds and cracking jokes for longer than some of us have been alive. Now let me tell you about Dean. He's just not your run-of-the-mill math teacher. He's a mathematical wizard with a heart of gold and a sense of humor to match. Whether he was teaching 6th grade at Zellers or cracking algebraic jokes at Allen and Chapman, Dean has always gone the extra mile to connect with his students. He didn't just teach math, he made it funnier than a stand-up comedy show at times. But it wasn't just his humor that made Dean a beloved figure in the classroom. It's his genuine kindness and dedication to his students. He just didn't see his students as numbers on a test. He saw them as whole, complex human beings with dreams, fears, and a whole lot of potential. He went above and beyond to make sure each and every one of his students felt valued and supported, both in and out of the classroom. So here's to you, Dean, as you ride off into the sunset of retirement. Thank you for your years of service, your boundless humor, and your immeasurable impact on generations of students. The halls of Strongsville Middle School won't be the same without you, but your legacy will live on in the laughter and learning of all of those you inspired.
Enjoy.
Oh, thank you.
Cheryl Mikula. Cheryl began at Allen way back in '91 to now is she reigns as the guardian of style and order at Kinsner Elementary. Cheryl has been the unsung hero behind the scenes, keeping the hallways looking fly and the school sparkling like a diamond in the rough. Cheryl is just not your average art teacher. From Sarrar to Zellers and everywhere in between, Cheryl has left her mark on every corner of our school community, ensuring that every nook and cranny is picture perfect and Instagram worthy. But it's not just Cheryl's knack for keeping things spick and span that makes her special. It's her ability to turn common spaces into showcases of student talent and creativity. Students are bursting with pride when they see their amazing work on display. Thanks to Cheryl's tireless efforts to curate the best of the best and showcase it all for you to see. As you pick up your last crayon and glue stick, remember all of those you've impacted along this journey and the amazing artists you helped to inspire. Congratulations on your retirement.
Congratulations.
Missy Novak. So again, we're here to celebrate another math wizard, the guru of geometry, Mrs. Novak. Mrs. Novak didn't just teach math at Center Middle School since 1990. She wielded numbers like a superhero, ready to rescue any student from the clutches of confusion. As her former principal, I've seen Mrs. Novak in action, and let me tell you, she's not just about boring old numbers. She's all about turning those math whizzes into critical thinking superheroes. But it's just not math skills that make Mrs. Novak a legend. She's got a heart of gold, too. She'd go to the ends of the earth, or at least the end of the hallway, to understand her students' strengths and challenges. Teaching middle school takes a very special person to navigate all of the changes kids go through at that age, and Missy has done it with finesse and a sprinkle of magic for the last 34 years. Now let's not forget about her other job, raising a small army of mini mathematicians. Mrs. Novak took some time off to conquer the world and conquer the wild and wonderful world of parenthood. Kayla, Cassie, Abby, Shannon, and Michael. I don't know if I got the order right. Maybe close? A little off? Okay. So here's to you, Mrs. Novak, for your tireless dedication, your infinite patience, and your uncanny ability to turn math haters into math lovers. You've left an indelible mark on students and staff at the middle school level, and we're forever grateful for your laughter, the learning, and the occasional math pun. Congratulations. Jill Peck. Jill began as an aide in Strongsville City Schools at the high school in 1999. She also did some data input work until beginning as a media assistant at Center Middle School in 2006. Jill's patience for all students and passion to help them with whatever is needed is second to none. In recent years, she has been able to bring her sewing talents to the students of the middle school and has taught them some great real-world skills while engaging their creativity and innovation. Jill was also instrumental in bringing campus life to the middle level. Developing a welcoming, fun, and safe environment for students to build positive relationships after school was over was a great experience for students after school, and I think sometimes they came in before school and during school to see you. Truly, Jill never stops learning and figuring things out to make a student's time at the middle school a positive one. As Jill embarks on this new chapter of her life called retirement, let us take a moment to express our deepest gratitude for her years of service, her unwavering dedication, and her countless contributions to our school community. The impact she has had on our students and staff will be felt for years to come. Thank you, Jill. Karen Lawrence. Got a fan club out there. Very cute. Karen's journey began with us in 1995 as she served as a bus aide for the last 29 years, assisting our students who need some additional help as they travel to and from school each day. Karen's story is one of family, love, and legacy, as she has worked in the same department as her late husband, Jerry, whose memory we hold dear in our hearts. Together, they touched the lives of countless students, not only ensuring their safe passage to and from school, but also brightening their days with their warmth and kindness. As the years went by, Karen's dedication to our schools only grew stronger, and now she passes the torch to her daughter Katie, continuing the legacy of excellent transportation service that runs deep in their family. But Karen's impact extends far beyond her role as a bus aide. She is a kind-hearted soul, always ready with a smile, a word of encouragement, or a helping hand. Her presence has been a source of comfort and joy to students and colleagues and parents alike, reminding us all of the power of compassion and empathy in our daily lives. Congratulations, Karen. Renetta Rayfeld. Ms. Rayfeld began in Strongsville as an intervention specialist at the high school in 2008 and then went to Muraski in 2010, where she has been for the last 14 years. Her current principal, Mr. Mike Griffin, had this to say about her. Renetta has never shied away from taking on difficult assignments and at times increased responsibility and challenging tasks. Through her years, she has addressed her work with humble confidence and consistent positive presence to all students and staff she has touched. Always was an advocate for her students and was meticulous in making sure that their needs were met. This often involved her peering around the office door early in the morning or rushing up to address a concern right away at the end of the day. But it was always with the intention of making sure she was acting in the best interest of kids. Thank you for your years of dedication, your tireless advocacy, and your unwavering commitment to making the world a better place, one student at a time. The halls of Moraski Elementary won't be the same without you, but your legacy will live on in the hearts of all of those you have touched. Happy retirement, and may your days be filled with laughter, love, and maybe just a little bit of relaxation.
Congratulations. Enjoy.
Congratulations.
Jean Shaliva. This time we get to celebrate a culinary legend. From her humble beginnings as an hourly cafeteria worker at Drake and Sorare Elementary back in 1997 to her current reign as the queen of the kitchen at Strongsville High School, Jean has been serving up smiles and making delicious meals for over 2 decades. She didn't just climb the ladder of success in the cafeteria world. She practically pole vaulted her way to the top. From cook to assistant manager to the illustrious title of cafeteria manager, Jean has done it all with grace, skill, and just a pinch of culinary magic. But Jean just isn't a manager. She's a leader in every sense of the word. She leads from a student-centered approach, ensuring that every meal served is not just nutritious, but also made with love. Not only does she excel at feeding hungry minds and bodies, but Jean also has a knack for fostering a sense of community in her cafeteria. Her leadership sets the tone for the entire kitchen staff, who follow her example by creating a warm and inviting environment for students and staff alike. It's just not about the food, it's about the experience, and Jean has mastered the art of making every mealtime feel like a family gathering. So Jean, as you hang up your apron and embark on the sweet journey of retirement, thank you for your years of dedication, your culinary prowess, and your commitment to making every lunchtime a memorable one. Thank you. And we'll call Jamie Sievers back up to the stage. I should just say ditto for what they said earlier, right? Jamie began as an intervention specialist at Chapman Elementary in 2011, and she really is a pillar of support and positivity in our school community. She has exemplified the very best of what it means to be a teacher. Throughout her time at Chapman, Jamie has been the epitome of a team player. She's the colleague you can always count on, the one who's never too busy to lend a helping hand or offer a word of encouragement. Whether it's collaborating on lesson plans, supporting struggling students, or simply brightening everyone's day with her infectious smile, Jamie has been an invaluable asset to our school community. But it's just not her willingness to pitch in and help out that sets Jamie apart. It's her positivity and genuine care for her students and her colleagues. Jamie's warmth and kindness have touched the lives of everyone she's worked with, forming strong relationships with students and families. Her positivity is like a ray of sunshine and inspires those around her to strive for everybody to do their best. Thank you for everything you've done, and may your days ahead be as bright and beautiful as your unforgettable smile. Congratulations.
Thanks. Enjoy.
Michelle Stroop. So what I remember is actually Miss Maglione as a new teacher when I started my Spanish career at Albion Middle School as a student. I never had you as a teacher, but you were already teacher-based teaming before it was cool with my teacher in my classroom at that time. Michelle, now Mrs. Stroop, began in Strongsville City Schools as a part-time Spanish teacher and physical education teacher in 1987 at Center and Albion Middle Schools. She's been fluctuating between both content areas at the high school ever since, I think, 1998. She has provided a passionate approach to supporting her students and advancing their lifelong habits to embrace physical activity. Muchísimas gracias por todo, and may your retirement be as dynamic as you are. Salud.
She was my dance team coach in high school.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And Jimmy Avery, I see you out there. Did you want to come on up, or? Come on up! Huh? Yeah, see that. So Jimmy, I didn't know you were coming, so I don't have an official speech, but I'm gonna just recognize you.
It's on me.
No, wait, don't leave. Stay right here. So Jimmy has been our assistant head custodian at the high school, and you retired in December of this year, so how's it been?
Great.
Great? What have you been up to? I haven't seen you.
My studio I got, my podcast, and
Okay.
Joan and my wife.
Do you want me to do a shout out for your podcast so people can
Sure,
watch?
yeah,
Okay, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah, tell them what it is.
For the last.
Is it as good as my podcast?
Well, you listen to it a lot.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, I do a podcast. When after my wife retired, I built her a studio in the basement, and she's been doing a podcast now for the last 5 years, and we've just hit our, I think it's 100,000 listeners right now, and we've got, and that's out of I think of 150 some odd countries and 28 territories. So she's heard all over the world right now. So the name of the podcast is Little Readers 6 to 8, and it's actually about I want to think about it. It's an educational term to teachers. No, I really
Educational
don't.
term
I
that
don't know.
teachers say, okay. We'll think of it later.
We'll think of it later.
Well,
Okay, go.
congratulations, Jimmy, to you. Thank you. So on behalf of the Board of Education, our entire administrative team, and the Strongsville community as a whole, thank you for your commitment to education and the lives you have influenced over the years. The legacy you leave will no doubt continue to inspire future generations of educators and support staff to always make a positive impact on students. Congratulations to all of you, and have a great last day of school tomorrow.
So next on our agenda, where's everyone going? So we're just going to pause, and I'm going to congratulate everyone one more time and repeat Jenny's comment to have a great last day of school. And thank you for all your work and service over so many years. And I was teasing. Now is the time you can all go home. It is a public meeting. You're welcome to stay. So next on our agenda is public comment. I do not have any slips. If there is anyone who wants to address the board, now is the time to approach the stage. Hearing none, we do have a need for executive session to consider the employment of a public employee. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Cobain. Any discussion? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Ms. Stovcek?
Yes.
Ms. Cobain?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes?
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
We will enter into executive session at 8 p.m. We do have business afterwards. We will return as quickly as possible.
Can we just leave our stuff here? Yeah.
We are going to resume our public session at 8:31 p.m. Next on our agenda is approval of minutes. Motion to approve the work session meeting minutes from May 9th, 2024. All district video and audio this is part of the consent calendar, isn't it?
Yeah, you can still read the motion.
So part of our consent calendar is the work session meeting minutes from May 9th. All district audio and video recordings will be a permanent part of the minutes. Next is our treasurer's report. Mr. Anagnostou.
Thank you, Mr. Miko. I have several items for your consideration tonight. The first one, G1, is the 5-year forecast. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the 5-year forecast be approved. It's the same forecast that was presented at the May 9th work session. Item G2 is the financial report for the month ending April 30th, 2024. The report and the supplemental report are attached to the agenda. Item G3, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that a new fund for the Ohio Attorney General's FY24 school safety grant be approved, fund number 499-9224. And the purpose of the grant, Mr. Breckner is investigating secure door alarms for the use of the funds. Item G4 is the approval of the grant be resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the Ohio Attorney General School Safety Grant be approved in the amount for $24,680.01. Item G5, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the following grant from the Strongsville Education Foundation be approved for fiscal year 24. It's a high school first aid, CPR, and AED training machine, which was applied for by the PE health teacher, Chloe Fadenholtz. Item G6, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the following student activity program revision for fiscal year 24 be approved. It's the student activity account is $399.17 for Strongsville High School athletic programs. It's not the high school athletic department. It's one that Mr. Ziegler opened a few years ago for fundraising type activities that benefit all the programs. Increased from 764 to 1,223. It's to bring the budget up to the cash. He's going to use the remaining funds, and then we're going to close the account, and everything else will be run from his athletic account. Item G7, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the amended appropriations for fiscal year 24 be approved. The following changes are made to the appropriations. Fund 003, which is the Permanent Improvement Fund, adjustment of $100,000 to outfit the classroom for the modular units. The cash is in the account to cover the budget increase. Fund 006, food service, adjustment of $225,873.87 for anticipated invoices for the months of April, May, and June. The cash is within the food service account to cover the increase. The total food cost for this year are 26% higher than last year. Of the increase, meals served has increased by 9% this year as well. Fund 019, the other grants, adjustment of $2,091 for the SCF grant award. And then Fund 300, the district managed student activity account, adjustment of $15,238.87, mainly for game worker and official costs that were higher than estimated in the high school athletic account and the middle school athletic account. The increase is offset by increased ticket sales that were higher than estimated. Overall, the amount that the general fund will need to transfer to cover the athletics has been reduced by $37,460 between the middle school and the high school based on the increased ticket sales. Item G8, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the medical prescription premiums be approved as presented in the exhibit with an increase of 3% effective July 1, 2024. Did touch on this during the 5-year forecast presentation. The increase is lower than last year's increase of 15%. So the increase this year is 3%. And as we're self-insured, it's the the rates are set by our claims. Item G9, vision insurance rates. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the vision premiums for fiscal year 25 be approved. There is no rate increase, and it is effective July 1, 2024 through June 30th of 2025. And then lastly, the kindergarten tuition rate for fiscal year 25. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the treasurer that the district sets tuition for the 24-25 full-day kindergarten at $2,200 per student. In the event that student withdraws from full-day kindergarten during the school year, tuition will be refunded at $12.50 per day minus a deposit and any other reductions applied. It is further recommended that the treasurer be charged with collecting tuition, preparing tuition contracts for parents to pay tuition in a lump sum or 2 annual payments. The treasurer may also grant parents a $50 reduction in tuition if paid in full prior to the beginning of the school year. Students qualified for free lunch may receive a $200 reduction in tuition, and students qualifying for reduced lunch may receive a $100 reduction in tuition. What I will add is the tuition amount is $200 less than this year. And the way we calculate the tuition costs is taking the costs that we're anticipating for next year for the full-day program, dividing it by 2, and then dividing it by the number of students. The cost is relatively the same to the district due to changes in personnel and their costs. And it's also 20 more students that the costs be spread amongst, which is why there's a reduction in the tuition rate. And with that, if there's no questions, that concludes my report.
Any questions for George? So I would like to share with the community, we are voting to approve the 5-year forecast. And we wanted to thank again the various groups that joined us at our meeting last time to review the 5-year forecast. The 5-year forecast serves as one tool that helps the school board decide what to do with regard to levies. I did want to publicly respond. We received an email asking how we approach the 5-year forecast, and is it the guide or the dictate for our renewal levy? And I talked about this with George. The 5-year forecast is one tool that we use as a board to determine a host of things. On a very practical matter, George is responsible for making sure that we have the money today and in the future. I believe the exact phrase is he has to certify the funds. And he does, he uses the 5-year forecast. When we're making purchases that are multi-year, he uses the 5-year forecast to say, we can not only pay what we need to pay today, but we can pay for however long a contract might be for.
That's required by law.
Thank you.
Yep.
So the 5-year forecast has some very practical purposes. The 5-year forecast is required by law. So by law, we have to create the 5-year forecast. We have to file the 5-year forecast. By law, if our 5-year forecast is showing future unhealthy cash balances, the state will put us in fiscal pre-watch, fiscal watch, fiscal caution, fiscal emergency. The state uses the 5-year forecast as a tool to determine when it needs to intervene in a school district's finances. So there's a couple of compliance or legal issues. But going back to the person's original question, we use it as a starting point. The thing that the 5-year forecast does not include is where the school board or where the administration wants the district to go. The 5-year forecast, all of its assumptions are we are going to continue as well as we can the way we are. We're not going to change programs. We're not going to add programs. It's if everything stays constant and we do our best estimate at what's going to happen with any of our expenses. That's the tool for the 5-year forecast. But it doesn't discuss anything about strategy, anything about how we want the district to grow, or new programs. In the 5-year forecast, if we decided, you know what, we need to expand offerings at the high school, the 5-year forecast doesn't address that. So I did want to share that with not just the community, but that letter writer, that yes, it is a very important part of our decision-making, but it's not the only important part. And again, one of the critical things it misses is what we may choose to do in the future, whether that would be kindergarten tuition or any host of any other things. Those costs are not reflected in the 5-year forecast. Does anybody have anything else for George? Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is superintendent's report. Dr. Ryba.
Mr. Miko, with your permission, would it be okay if we come back to mine? That way my colleagues that have been waiting since executive session can do their reports, and then...
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you. So I'll ask Mr. Breckner to come on up and do the business services report.
Good evening, everyone. There's a few items here under business services. The first one is student accident insurance. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education accepts the proposal of Guaranteed Trust Life Insurance Company through Love Insurance Company as the student insurance program for the Strongsville City Schools for the 24-25 school year. Be it further resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the following be adopted. All students participating in the interscholastic and intramural activities shall either purchase the appropriate insurance coverage or present a waiver signed by the parent or guardian. Such a waiver shall release all in authority or in charge from any liability resulting from medical claims. The second item is the vendor managed supply program. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into an agreement between the Strongsville City Schools and ALCO for the vendor managed supply program as stated in the exhibit for one fiscal year, not to exceed $56,148, funding to be from the general fund, supplies and materials for custodial. Does that one need a vote, George, or no?
Yeah, it's slated as action.
I too, yes.
The reading glasses, I really have to start getting them. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into agreement between the schools and ELCO for the vendor managed supply program. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Kilbane. Any discussion? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Ms. Stochek?
Yes.
Ms. Cobain?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes,
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
and the motion carries.
The third item for your consideration is the treasurer's bond. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the operations manager be authorized to renew the Ohio School Boards Association Public Official Bond Program for George K. Anagnostou, treasurer. Bonded amount is $100,000 for the period of August 1, 2024 through July 31, 2027, funding to be from the general fund. A fourth item is resurfacing of the high school campus. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education accepts the proposal from Vasco Asphalt Company for the resurfacing of the high school campus at a cost not to exceed $82,680. It says consent, but does that need a vote, George?
No, we can keep it as consent.
Okay. And then the fifth item is gifts. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the following gifts be approved. The Eberhard Manufacturing Company donated 36 padlocks to the Strongsville City School District. The Strongsville Optimist Club donated $35 in Amazon gift cards to the district kindergarten and first grade teachers as a part of the district's Reading Buddies program. And Laura Mathalias donated 2 music stands to Kinsner Elementary School. And that concludes business services section.
Any questions for Steve? Steve, when are we going to repave parking lots?
Right
When are we
now,
going
we're
to repave
looking at,
Paradise?
pardon?
When are we going to repave Paradise?
Oh, at mid-July is what I'm looking at with your votes, is where we would do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we've got Aaron Greena, our Director of Curriculum, with the curriculum report for the month.
Good evening. Tonight I have 8 items for your consideration. The
first item is elementary school fees for the 24-25 school year. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the elementary student fee list for the 24-25 school year be approved as presented. The second item is the 24-25 secondary student fees. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the secondary student fee list for the 24-25 school year be approved as presented. The third item tonight is for the Lexia Core 5 reading program. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that Strongsville City School District pays to purchase 1-year Lexia Core 5 reading Power Up Literacy Unlimited licenses for grades K to 8 at a total cost of $63,000. Item 4 is for a student-teacher internship placement. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the following students should be placed for the purpose of student teaching. We have a student assigned to the middle school from September 3rd through December 6th, 2024, and this is a student from Baldwin Wallace University. Item 5, we have student-teacher placements. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the following student teachers be placed. We have one at Strongsville Middle School and High School from August 26th through December 13th of 2024 from the University of Akron. We have one at Kinsner Elementary School assigned to teacher there from August 26th through December 13th, 2024. This is a student from Baldwin Wallace University. Item 6 is an overnight trip for the high school boys golf team. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that permission be granted to the Strongsville boys golf team to travel to Meadville, Pennsylvania to participate in the Midwest Prep Golf Classic September 13th through 15th of 2024. Transportation, district van, and parents' vehicles, lodging and meals will be paid with the proceeds from fundraising. Item 7 is the Strongsville High School boys golf team again. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, permission be granted to the Strongsville boys golf team to travel to Grove City, Ohio to participate in the Grove City Invite Tournament September 20th through 21st, 2024. Transportation again via district van and parents' vehicles, lodging and meals paid with proceeds from fundraising activities. And the final item, an overnight trip for the Strongsville High School boys and girls cross-country team. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent, permission be granted to the Strongsville High School boys and girls cross-country teams to attend an overnight camp. This will take place August 4th through 8th, 2024 at Lakeside Historic Village in Lakeside, Ohio. Transportation provided by parents and lodging and meals paid by the participating students.
Any questions for Aaron? All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Aaron. Next up, we have Director of Student Services, Andy Trujillo, with his report.
Good evening, members of the board. I have 7 items for your consideration this evening. The first is STEPS Educational Group. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into an agreement with STEPS Education Group for placement of a student with disability in the 2024-2025 school year, including an extended school year, in the amount of $79,000. Second one is Education Alternatives Service Agreement. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into a tuition excess cost agreement with Education Alternatives for placement of students with disabilities for the 2024-2025 school year. Number 3 is Education Alternatives Student Transportation Agreement. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into a student transportation agreement with Education Alternatives. This agreement engages Education Alternatives to provide transportation services for the district's students enrolled at Education Alternatives school locations during the 2024-2025 school year. Number 4 is KidLinks School. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into an agreement with SchoolLink School, LLC, for placement of a student with disabilities for the 2024-2025 school year in the amount of $95,000. Number 5 is KidsLink School. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into an agreement with KidsLink School, LLC, for placement of a student with disabilities in the 2024-2025 school year in the amount of $95,000. Number 6 is Insight Behavioral Consulting. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Strongsville Board of Education enters into an agreement with Insight Behavioral Consulting, operating an educational institution known as Insight Academy, for placement of a student who requires special education and related services for the 2024-2025 school year in the amount of $74,984, and an additional $5,000 if attending extended school year. And number 7, Insight Behavioral Consulting. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Strongsville Board of Education enters into an agreement with Insight Behavioral Consulting, operating an educational institution known as Insight Academy, for placement of a student who requires special education-related services for the 2024-2025 school year in the amount of $74,984, and an additional $5,000 if the student attends extended school year. That is it.
Any questions for Andy?
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Next up is our Assistant Superintendent, Jenny Pelko, with the Human Resource Report.
Thank you. I have the following items for your consideration under Human Resources. Under number 1, we have the resignation for an administrative staff member. Under 2, resignations for certificated staff members. 3, resignations for non-certificated staff. Under 4, retirement for non-certificated staff. 5, appointments for certificated staff. 6, appointments for non-certificated staff. Number 7, appointments for summer learning. Number 8, appointments for certificated athletic supplemental contracts. 9, appointments for non-certificated athletic supplemental contracts. Number 10, change in status for non-certificated staff. 11, contract recommendations for administrative staff. 12, we have contract recommendations for our leadership staff. 13, contract recommendations for certificated continuing contracts. 14, contract recommendations for certificated limited contracts. Number 15, contract recommendations for non-certificated staff. Under 16, stipends for our local professional development committee. 17, a stipend for our science of reading training. Number 18, a stipend for our textbook selection committee. Number 19, medical leaves for certificated staff. 20, medical leaves for non-certificated staff. Number 21, we have our volunteers. And finally, under 22, we do have a revision to the agenda on January 25th under Human Resources. It was a stipend for textbook selection, and the fund should be changed to our Title IIA fund, Improving Teacher Quality Fund. And that concludes my report.
Questions for Jenny? And then finally, we've got our Director of Technology, Dave Binkley, with his report. Dave?
Good evening. I have 5 items for you tonight to consider. The first one is Power School Group. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters an agreement with Power School Group, LLC, to provide enrollment registration services for the period of June 30th, 2024 to June 29th, 2025 for the amount of $20,790. Item number 2 is for Magic School AI software services. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education enters into an agreement with Magic School to provide instructional AI services for staff and student use. This is a 3-year contract that will commence on August 2nd, 2024, and will have an end date of August 1st, 2027, and will be invoiced annually at a cost of $28,000 per year. Item number 3 is with Royal Business Equipment for our mobile learning units for the technology inside of them. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approves the purchase of projectors, diversity boards, desktop computers, and monitors from Royal Business Equipment to prepare multiple classrooms in the mobile learning units for educational instruction at the cost of $49,388.86. Item number 4 is with Southeast Security for equipment for the mobile learning units. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approves the purchase of items to establish network connectivity in the 6 mobile learning units for educational instruction at the cost of $19,130.52. This includes installation, testing, programming, and training. Additional required cabling will be purchased at an estimated cost of $1,740 for a total of $20,870.52. And my last item tonight is with Agile Sports, or Huddle, for the contract services that we discussed previously. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the agreement between Strongsville City Schools and Agile Sports Technologies, Inc., DBA Huddle, be approved to provide the Huddle High School Total Athletic Program software and streaming for a trial period beginning May 15th, 2024, followed by a 1-year subscription beginning August 1st, 2024, and ending July 31st of 2025. The amount of the contract is worth $26,000 per year, invoiced annually. Those are all my items.
Or any questions for Dave? Thank you, Dave. And thank you to the team, and feel free to head on home and enjoy the evening. We'll move back up to the superintendent's report as we do have one discussion item under student drug testing policy. So as the board knows, we have a board policy committee. The board policy committee discussed the possibility of a student drug testing policy. We brought it to the full board. The committee said, hey, the full board needs to discuss this. I think maybe January 1st of the year. We had a discussion about it, and at that time, the board gave the direction, go talk to folks, see what staff, parents think about that, and report back to us. So that's where we're at now. All of the results of that have been shared with the board. So I'm just going to kind of highlight a few things. So just as a reminder, the why behind this policy is I've put in my parent update recently. We've seen an increase of marijuana use, THC use, edible use, and it's concerning for the health and safety of our students. And we're looking to give our students an option, a positive option to say no, and help support students that may be using in a way to lead them on a pathway to not be using these illegal substances. So that's the foundation. We want to help kids. This policy is about helping kids to make positive choices, to give them a reason to say no, and if they haven't said no, to provide the necessary supports to help get them back into a healthy lifestyle. So we started with that. The policy in a very broad stroke is any student in grades 6 to 12 that is part of a club, a music group, and co or extracurricular activity, sports team, and I think I said music group, but just to make sure, or at the high school level drives to school, would have to sign a consent form that says, I am subject to random drug testing. The district would contract with a medical lab that would do the testing and do that, and you would select how many students you want to be tested, how many times a year. And again, students that are in these activities would be put in a lottery, for lack of a better term, and X amount of names would be pulled at each testing time, and those students would be randomly pulled and tested. In the policy as it stands, there would be it's not about punishment, so there would be no punishment or nothing in the file in terms of school file or school consequences. At some point, the board would need to decide what consequences would be related to the club or activity or extracurricular that is there. And so that's a broad stroke overview of the policy. The other thing that our high school team and some of our mental health partners have been working on, and it's linked in the agenda for the board to see, is what are some interventions and supports that we would provide for students that test positive, as well as any student that may not be in these activities that are found to be under the influence, using or have devices on them to use an illegal substance. We're looking at an intervention and support and diversion program, as well as looking at developing some group therapy services for students that are at the level of addiction that would need that support that's there. So that's another part that we've done since our last conversation. And then finally, we did, based on the board's direction, I held 3 focus groups. So I sent an invite out to any coach, club advisor, music teacher, as well as our SROs to be a part of it. At the staff focus group, we had good representation from music and athletics in middle school and high school. We had an SRO, Strongsville police officer, on that call with us. We did not have as much representation on school clubs. But we went through a protocol, taking a look at this from all angles. The board has been shared, this has been shared with you a while ago, and it's in your agenda for reference. But there was unanimous feedback from the staff that they support a drug testing policy, from music to athletics to middle school to high school to kids that are driving and in clubs. So we did that focus group and got that feedback. The next part that I did is I shared in my parent update an invitation for any parent that want to be a part of an ad hoc focus group. They could share their interest. So just as a rough estimate, we have 6,000 emails in our database. 35 people reach out to say they wanted to be a part of it. Of those 35, we had 2 virtual meetings, and each of those meetings, we had 16 total people that participated, so a small sample size. Of those parents that participated, 7 out of the 16, so about 43%, said they are supportive of a random drug testing policy. The other 57% or 9 said no, they're not supportive for a variety of reasons, which are listed in the notes from the feedback that was provided. So that's the work we've done from January up until this point. And Mr. Micco, I'll turn it over to you for further discussion, guidance, and questions that the board may have that I can either answer now or take down and provide updates at a later time once I can find that information out for you.
Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate the time the district has put into researching this. Speaking for myself, I think it's incumbent on us to have a policy. The draft, I think, is a good start. I think we just need to work through some of the issues. Some of the unwieldiness is I'm speaking for myself is whether we want a policy that's random drug testing, or do we want a policy that is, prescriptive, and everyone is subject to drug testing once a year or whatever schedule we want to put it in. I've had conversations with different athletic directors at different schools that have all had different approaches to it. The approach that resonates with me is one that is always highlighting and always as its primary purpose not to play a game of gotcha, not to play a game of trying to catch someone, but to use it as a tool to have conversations and get help when necessary, and to prioritize, I don't want to say force, but prioritize, and just another vehicle to have those conversations. The athletic director I spoke with said, as a pattern, the parents are always surprised, shocked, and don't believe that their child is using whatever the drug may be, whether it be alcohol or primarily marijuana. And it is the vehicle necessary or the vehicle used to have those conversations. And their program is specifically non-punitive. And so that part resonates with me, and I think is something we should consider, and whether we can do that. On the other hand, joining the school newspaper, is it reasonable that if you join the school newspaper as an activity, you're going to have mandatory drug testing? And I'm not sure what the answer is. Maybe it is reasonable. The amount of it doesn't take long to go to the newspaper and find really tragic stories about what happens when young people abuse drugs or alcohol or anything else. So those are the kinds of things that I'm thinking about that I'd like to think about a little further and see if it addresses how we craft our policy. The one, and what that would allow us to do is where the paragraph, students with a certified positive test may face consequences related to that activity. This would give us the ability to have a policy that the consequences are if you don't go through whatever we prescribe. And I did like the some of the sampling that you provided of counseling. There's existing programs that both the parents and the student would have to sign up for. It resonates with me that our policy is if you had a positive test, you don't lose any game time, you don't lose any activity time, et cetera, as long as you sign up and do those things, whatever education we require. And then allow the student code of conduct and the athletic code of conduct to address times where students are, I hate to use the word caught, but are caught, whether it's drinking at an activity, whether it's using drugs at a sports activity or what have you. That would be addressed by the code of conduct. The drug testing policy would almost be a siloed, purely educational policy. And then the other one that I was thinking about is there is a cost to it. And I think this would be something where we could say that a portion of your pay to participate fee will cover the cost of the annual or what have you drug test. Because I do think it's important that if we do agree that this is something we do, we put our money where our mouth is. And I don't want to just flippantly say, hey, you want to play sports, you're also going to have to pay for this fee. So I think I've said enough. I'm going to open it up for other board members' comments.
Something I've thought a lot about, and it's resonated with me, and maybe Mrs. Pelko can speak more to it, but in an offside conversation, you said something that made me stop and think a lot about, like, the potency of THC now versus, in years past, and how it's so much stronger. Could you speak to that again?
Yeah, I don't have specific data in front of me right now, but, that is what we're hearing, I think, from our police, is that, there are, I think I don't know how far back, I guess, I've never done marijuana, but, that potency of it maybe 20 years ago and versus now, and the things that are being placed in it as well, and that we don't know always what is in there. Obviously there are things that, like fentanyl and things like that can be placed in it. And so that's the major concern, is that when we're sharing these things among each other and friends, we're trusting people and we truly don't know. Principal Bill Wingler, who is also a nurse, always shares this story with students that, based on other conditions that the student may have. So underlying medical conditions, and other medications maybe that they are taking that they truly need, and taking this on top of it can really have a adverse impact on any of those things as well, or just on their health in general. So I think that's the scary part, for me in a school district is, I never want to see any child be harmed by a bad decision, even if they've done it one time and they're just hanging out with friends. I think that's the scary part, is that, sometimes you just don't know. And so I think this, to be extra cautious for us and do everything that we can to hopefully prevent anything from happening would be ideal.
I just wanted to share one of the concerns I had when thinking about this, and it was, if my computer would work, a concern that was shared by staff members, I believe, as well. If you work or have students in the district, we have a lot of initiatives, and we're striving for excellence in all of them. So as, if we move forward with this, I would just ask that we pay close attention to the amount of time that we're going to put towards this. It seems relatively simple and straightforward, but I know better, and that when we get down to it, it's going to take time, financial resources, human resources, family resources, student resources to make this effective. And that is my main concern is do we have the bandwidth that it takes in 2024 right now to implement this with fidelity and continue to do the other things that we're doing to try to make this, the premier district we want it to be.
I'll just add to that. If we're if we're going to implement it, I agree with Michelle, or I think I'm hearing what you're saying, is then we have to follow through. And sometimes, because so many things go on, that doesn't always happen. So we can't identify kids and then kind of leave them hanging. We have to have a program then and stick to it and make sure that we really like follow through, because if we don't, then everything this is just, doesn't make any sense to do anything. So, and I was reading it off my phone, but Avon has a drug policy, but theirs is more like a step up kind of thing. Like if you're caught once, you have to go to like a diversion program. If it's a second time, there's something else. If it's a third time, you're just not going to play whatever sport that is. I don't know how we're going to implement that. How many times are we going to test kids? I think we'd have to really kind of figure that all out. Like, are we going to just have them all tested and then randomly test them during the year? Or have them all get tested one time and then go through the season and be okay with that? I mean, I don't know. That's another thing you have to think about.
So from my perspective, that's part of that, that balancing act with policy. Policy puts in place what the policy is, and then this policy, along with a number of other policies, then direct the superintendent and his designee to carry it out and deal with things like, and it does resonate with me, that we have to have the capacity to do this and do it well. We don't need a policy that nobody follows. We don't need a policy that we don't actually implement. But I think that's the dialogue we can have with Cameron on execution of the policy after we, as a board, agree on the framework of the policy. That, athletic department is closer to the students than I am. The high school principal, the middle school principal are closer to the students than I am. And I would say that it's their, we would charge them with the mechanics of, are we going to randomly test once a month? Are we going to randomly test twice a year? Those kinds of things. And whether, from their experience, random testing is what we need, or a across-the-board testing, or a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Haley, did you have any questions, comments?
No, just to keep it consistent across the board. I know we had talked about it being in the policy committee for a little bit now, going back and forth on it and the different options and what other schools have done. So I was curious to see what other people's opinion was on it as well, since we've been talking about it for a few months now, Michelle and I, in those meetings.
So I think to close the discussion.
One more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cameron or Jenny, maybe you can speak to this, or there's a lot of information here about like the positive outcome for students, and that makes sense to me. Being able to say no, like I'm participating, that resonates with me. Have we had any conversation about what the potential negative impact? So for kids like with anxiety or other unique needs, that this may, or even parental and child relationships, that this might undercut and cause negative effects?
Yeah, so if you look at the parent feedback and the question at the bottom, the questions that are on the mind, it addresses a lot of that. So I think those are things of, yes, if you take a look at all of the things you just said, Ms. Bissell, those are potential negative consequences for that. So that's something that if the board kind of says, Cameron, here's the framework that we want the policy to be. Ms. Cobain, what you were saying would either, some school districts put it in the student handbook, here's kind of what we do with it, or it can be in administrative guidelines, as Mr. Micko said. But what I think would be helpful is, kind of get the guardrails of what you guys pose some great kind of, do we want to do this or this? How frequently, how many, when, is the newspaper club going to be a part of this, or whatever it may be? If we get those guardrails in place, then I think that's where we can be more targeted in going through those parental and staff questions and concerns again about, hey, if we do this, what about this? And then we can start to see what those were. So or see if we feel that they are perceived concerns or real concerns that we may have, and also talk to her. There's a lot of school districts, and I would say the majority of school districts in this area have this policy already. So we have a lot of experience around us to rely on and to look at, here's what has happened in practice to gain their experience. So I think there probably should be, Ms. Bissell, like some levers or opportunities, or to address proactively, kind of say, how are we going to address some of these unintended consequences that may come from a policy like this?
Did any of the other districts or anything that we've talked to and gotten opinion from, or data-wise even studies, speak to, like, do the benefits outweigh the costs in this? Is there any data like that?
Yeah, so it's one of those things that's hard to measure, right? Because you're measuring, I'm not doing something. So one of the things that came up in one of our focus groups is, can we do a student perception survey? Can we, after we go through a year of this, can we ask our students about how this made them feel? Did this policy help me to say no? Did it help me to make choices because sport X was more important to me than getting high on the weekend with my friends at a party? So those are things that I think it's more after the fact. Let's get some data and see, did it cause, the anxiety, the stress, I didn't want to deal with that, I stopped participating in the club or the sport or the music group. So those are some things that, at least that's what I've thought of so far, and suggested by one of the parents, which I thought was a great idea.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So to bring it to a close for today, I don't hear any board members that are opposed to it. So I think we review the sample policy, supply any suggestions for improvements or changes, so that we can get to the point this summer to approve a potential policy, and then we can work on implementation.
Would you want to start it in the fall then? Is that what I'm hearing?
I would want to get the policy adopted, and then I would want to work with Cameron, the high school, and the middle school to say, is it reasonable to start it in the fall? Is it reasonable to start it in the winter? To me, it's the step one is to approve the policy, and then, as both of you said, very importantly, we need to do it well. So I'm more interested in doing it well than doing it by a deadline.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more item under my section is be it resolved upon my recommendation that the services agreement between Righted School and Strongsville City Schools be approved as stated in the exhibit. Righted School is our before and after school care program, and it's the same contract as we've had in past years, and they're a good partner. And with that, that concludes my report.
Any questions, any additional questions for Cameron? I'm just going to run through the agenda to get caught up and make sure we didn't miss anything. And according to my agenda, we are at report on Polaris Career Center. Mrs. Bissell.
Mrs. Hausen. I'm going to take it this one.
Oh, how nice. Mrs. Hausum.
All
I'm going
right.
to put poor George in a tizzy because the name is wrong.
You could fix it.
Let's keep you on your toes. All right, for Polaris, they have been very busy this past month. In mid-May, they hosted their first annual career fair, where during the day, 5th and 6th graders were able to explore over 160 employers spanning 16 national career clusters at the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds. And then in the evening, it was open to the public, where they were able to come back and see the same thing that the kids saw. The event was free, and it was a huge success. And then I also wanted to highlight, it was a big week at Strongsville Middle School, where Polaris featured their annual Project Lead the Way Engineering Biomedical Science Signing Day. 113 8th graders proudly signed their program posters, received their official lanyards, and committed to their Polaris programs for next year. So I'd like to welcome them to the Polaris family. We're excited to see what our future engineers and future biomedical engineers do in the future. And then lastly, I just want to wish our Polaris seniors congratulations on graduation. And again, can't wait to see what they come back and tell us they're doing. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is report on legislation. I did want to report that on May 15th, Governor DeWine signed House Bill 250 into law. The law requires every school district in Ohio to establish an official policy governing cell phone usage during school hours and aims to minimize the student use of cell phones during the school day. The good news is we already have such a policy, so we have until July of 2025 to make sure we still have such a policy, but it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to take a look at it and see if it needs any updates or anything to make it more effective or more appropriate for our use. But this, again, I think is an example of when the state of Ohio makes a decision, and we were already there a number of years ago. City Council report. Would you like to give the report?
Sure. City Council, Strongsville VFW Post 3345 will sponsor the annual Memorial Day Parade and ceremony on Monday, May 27th. The parade will step off at 11 a.m. from St. Joseph Church on Pearl Road and head south to the Commons at the corner of Pearl and Royalton Roads, where a ceremony honoring the nation's fallen heroes will take place. Just take note, the location is new this year because of construction in town center area has temporarily closed the Freedom Trail gazebo where the ceremony usually takes place. Also that day, the Strongsville Historical Village, 13305 Pearl Road, will host a Memorial Day open house from 11:30 till 2 p.m. Buildings will be open for visiting, and there will be crafts for children and refreshments for all. There will also be a gold star tree where people can write the names of fallen soldiers and a missing man table in the Lathrop House. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Laura. Going through our board liaison reports, Strongsville Education Foundation.
Unfortunately, I wasn't at their last meeting. I was out of town, but I'm assuming they are continuing to talk about their casino night, which is November 23rd. I know that they had given out their awards to the seniors. So just keep that in mind. November 23rd is casino night, and they are hoping for a big turnout. And that concludes that.
And do you or Michelle have a PTA report?
Their council PTA installation lunch last week or the week before, where they honored our PTA Helping Hands and the Outstanding Teacher Award. I was not able to attend that event, but it is always a fun time, and to see the award winners get, recognized, and for us to install our new officers for the incoming year. So it's exciting. PTA will be on a hiatus over the summer, but I'm sure everyone will be busy getting ready for the fall.
Thank you, Michelle. I am going to be rude, and if anyone wants to correct me later, go ahead. Our Finance Committee report, the next meeting is to be announced. Our Policy Committee report, the next meeting is to be announced. Our Facilities Committee report, our next meeting is August 13th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the admin building. And our Business Advisory Council Committee meeting, the next meeting is to be announced. I think summer vacation is on everyone's mind.
Rich, I will add, for the Finance Committee, we invited them to the last board meeting with the presentation with a 5-year forecast, and members of the Finance Committee were in attendance, as well as the Facilities Committee as well.
That is correct, and we thank both the members of both committees for making the time to join us for a committee of the whole. We are now at the consent calendar. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of the consent calendar at this point of the agenda means that all items appearing in this agenda denoted as type action consent are adopted by a single motion unless requested otherwise. Do I have any otherwise? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Cobain. Any discussion? George, please take the roll.
Ms. Stochek?
Yes.
Ms. Cobain?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is timely information.
Thank you, Mr. Miko. A couple highlights. Obviously, we don't have the screen tonight, but it's in your board agenda and public for everybody to see. A couple highlights, starting at the elementary level. Kelly Dobeck, who's on the morning anchor and meteorologist on the news, came to Kinsner and talked to fifth graders about a week ago. That's where she went to elementary school, and she presented some science experiments that were there, asked some very thought-provoking questions, and talk with the kids about both her love of science and math. And one of our current fifth grade teachers, Ms. Subulak, was one of her math teachers and credited her for her love of learning science and math. So that was an awesome experience for our fifth graders over at Kinsner. At the middle school recently returned from their Music in the Parks competition at Cedar Point. So they've gone for as long as I can remember to go there. So not only is it a great day on the rides and at the park, but they get to perform at the parks as well. So we had a great showing, as usually, from our music department. So chamber strings, jazz band, and show choir all got first place. And then Stephen Renfro, a special shout out to him in 8th grade. He got the best jazz soloist for his solo on the clarinet. So we talk a lot and sing the praises of our high school music groups, but it starts at the middle school and also the 5th grade level. And so it was great for the kids to have that experience and to get the recognition that they deserve. Finally, we talked about, DECA, part of that class and that concept business is marketing principles. So we have a marketing principles class for our 11th graders where they have hands-on projects that they did for their final exam. So they partnered with a new local business called Nourishing Nook to create marketing campaigns for that business. They were divided into groups, competed against each other, and presented to the owner of that business. And they researched and created different elements to market that. And they did SWOT analysis, ran positioning statement, target markets, customer profiles, and the like. So again, what a great way, instead of going in and doing a paper pencil final exam, to bring in a local business, to our kids utilize their talents. And I'm sure the Nourishing Nook got probably a few good ideas that they could implement at their business. And then finally, as we wrap up the school year, everybody knows tomorrow is the last day of school. It's an early release. We sent out the schedule on Monday. And then, not that anybody wants to talk about the start of the next school year, but we start on August 19th with grades 1 to 9 and have kindergarten orientation. The 20th, we bring our kindergartners and our 10th to 12th graders. And then on Wednesday, August 21st, our preschoolers arrive. And we've got everybody on board, so we'll worry about that at a later time, but hope everybody has a wonderful summer break and enjoys the time away with family and friends.
Thank you, Cameron. Board of Education other, does anybody have any others? I will just share that we had high school graduation last Sunday. It was a great day. It was wonderful to graduate 470 seniors, which is just hard to imagine all of them. But it really was an outstanding celebration of all their accomplishments. The weather was perfect. Whatever we paid for it was worth every penny. And everybody can thank, all the parents of the graduates can thank Cameron because they are all now $20 poorer. But again, congratulations to all our graduates, and well wishes for whatever their future brings. Congratulations to their parents, the teachers, and everyone involved. But it really was, it is my favorite activity every year, and it held up again. So thank you for that. And again, Monday is Memorial Day. We know that there's a parade at 9 o'clock? 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. If you want to wait, if you want to get your spot starting at 9, go right ahead. The parade is at 11 o'clock, and I think it's important that we remember Memorial Day is observed on the last Monday of May, and it honors the men and women who died while serving in the U.S. military. And although it is the unofficial start of the summer, I think it's important at 3 p.m. is the national moment of silence. So on Monday, please remember at 3 p.m. to take a moment of silence and remember the sacrifices of those for our country. We do have meeting notification. A regular Board of Education meeting work session will be held Thursday, June 13th at 7 p.m. in our admin building, and a regular Board of Education meeting will be held Thursday, June 27th at 7 p.m. in our admin building. We do have reason for executive session on the topics to consider the employment of a public employee and to prepare for negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Motion by Ms. Stavcek, second by Mrs. Bissell. Any discussion? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Ms. Stavcek?
Yes.
Mrs. Bissell?
Yes.
Ms. Cobain?
Yes.
Mr. Miko?
Yes.
Mrs. Hausum?
Yes.
Motion carries. We will enter into executive session at 9:35. We have no expectation of further business. Thank you for your attention and have a wonderful summer.